Hey folks, it's Jim. Gonna do a video on, we have inflation, yes, but a lot of things are back to either normal or deflation prices. And a couple of those things are the exam gloves, okay? Back to pre-COVID prices, and a lot of them are homemade now. And our 3M homemade N95 masks, I got super cheap, a box of 20 with the metal nose clip and the nice elastic fabric welded in, stapled the whole bit straps, which I use all the time. I use exam gloves because I also work on bikes, do other projects, grease the tractor, do a lot of things. Plus, I'm a medical person, so I'm going to need exam gloves anyway. I'm going to order another box of 1,000. And it's cheap, dirt cheap right now for these. So while we're in a time of inflation, some things are very, very cheap right now and actually going into deflation, okay? The next thing, the reason why I'm doing this video, for instance, on some gear that used to be, we couldn't even get now and super expensive, and now we're getting to be dirt cheap again, because I opened up my suture kit to start practicing suturing again, and my skin pad was dried out, so it wasn't doing me any good, and so I needed to order a new skin pad, and I was able to get this particular kit cheap enough to forego ordering another skin pad and just ordering a whole new kit. And I'll show you what comes in it. You got your skin pad to practice with. You get two needle drivers, and you got your tweezers, and you got your scissors, and you got your blade holder. So, and lots of sutures, and like 5 blades, and all different gauges of suture. So you could, between face and arm and whatever, you know what I mean? So you can practice using the different gauges. And that's very important. The only thing I want to share about, if you order a suture kit, please make sure you have wide gap, okay? And then medium gap, and then thin gap cut to suture, and practice pulling the skin together. Because the secret to suturing is learning how much tension to apply to close that wound. We don't want to pinch it, we just want to close it, okay? So when you buy a suture kit, okay, make sure you have a large gap wound in it, all right? That's all I'm saying to practice with. So you can practice pulling that skin in and what it's like to pull skin together without, pulling it too tight, and yet you got to get it tight enough to close the wound, okay? So, and how far you're going to have to go away from the edge of the wound is important as well to make sure you pull that together. And try and get, if you do order a kit to practice suturing, make sure that you read the reviews, okay? At least 4.5 stars, and medical students saying it's good, okay? If medical students are saying this is being used, that means their doctors and their clinicians are telling them it's a decent kit, okay? So make sure you read all those reviews. Don't just go for the cheapest one. Go for one that represents skin so you can feel what that's like. Because trust me, suturing a face on a female is different from suturing a forearm on a male, okay? It's very different, okay? And I'm not saying male, female per se. It's just skin thickness and toughness is completely different from region of the body to region of the body, as well as on person to person, okay? So if you have someone that's an office worker and doesn't beat their body up, their skin's not quite as tough. Whereas if you got someone who is working outdoors all the time, scarred up and sun, beaten skin, and we call them leathernecks, right? They're going to have a little tougher skin, so they're a little more forgiving when you're suturing. But if you're working on someone with delicate skin, you need to learn how to pull that wound close without compromising, okay, your suture, all right? So that's kind of where I'm going with that. It's all different. But anyway, I need the gloves too because I'm a medical person as well with a medical background. So if the SHTFWROL comes, I'm going to be helping people anyway. Plus I repair bicycles, work on my own machinery. So I'm using gloves all the time. I'm never regret buying gloves, especially at this price. A box of 1,000 extra large nitrile gloves for $60. Okay? My 3M masks, N95, good quality, which I use all the time when I'm working with pressure treated wood, clearing field areas with poison ivy or poison oak. Gotta have this, okay? I'm using them all the time. So getting them dirt cheap like this, this was 70 cents a mask. Pre-COVID, I couldn't get them for that price, okay? So 3M is turning this stuff out right here in the good old USA, and it's cheap. Cheap right now. So I wanted to share that as well. But, and I'm just working on my medical garbs. You saw my antibiotic video the other night. Hopefully you did. Please press that like button, subscribe, all of that stuff. I want to start growing the channel again. Why am I doing all this medical stuff, talking about it? Because, folks, my gut tells me something is coming that's 50 times worse than COVID. That's my instinct is telling me that, okay? So COVID, I believe, is our warning and our preparation, and that we should have been prepared and get prepared. Now what's coming, I believe, is going to be far worse, okay? And I don't think it's, I don't know. It's up to God, the universe, when it all goes down. But my point is, right now, things are cheap, okay, in this area, because they're overstocked now that the COVID's dropping down. When the next one hits, this stuff's going to go right through the roof again, and you're not going to be able to get it just like before. You're going to be left with cheap cotton masks that don't do anything. And let me tell you, if the next virus is 10 to 20 times to 50 times worse than what we experienced here, this will be gone in a matter of days, and you won't be able to get it, okay? So that's just my suggestion to you. For those of you in the medical field, if you haven't broken out your suture kit and practice suturing again, okay? I mean, I have to all the time. I'm not suturing anymore, all right? So I like to break this out every couple of years and keep my rhythm up, okay? So, and I'm pretty experienced. I sewed up a lot of Marines. So the point I'm trying to make is, are you getting prepared while this stuff is cheap? Cheap. I don't think we're ever going to see it this cheap again. And if another virus breaks out, you ain't going to be able to get it again. So, how quickly we forget, right? So, I know a lot of you are on hard times right now, and bless your hearts. But for those of you who can't afford it, get the items now while they're dirt cheap. That's just my suggestion to do. Again, disclaimer, this is not medical advice or advice of any kind. This is simply my opinion and what I'm doing in my life. I wish you all the very best. I hope you're all doing well. Chris Martinson's releasing a video on some NIH shenanigans tonight. So go on over at Peak Prosperity. Watch that video tonight. He's going to reveal more. I'm going to do a video that I tried to do in 2020 in March, but I couldn't release it without swearing. So I will try to get that video out. Anyway, this is just some of the stuff that I'm doing. And folks, these things are cheap right now. Cheaper than pre-COVID, okay? So I hope you're all doing well. And keep the faith. And Jim out.